don't think it makes, and I like the idea in general, but I don't think the timing is quite right now. I don't think that that's going to end up being the case there for the Cowboys. So I love Sean Payton. I could see it down the road. I don't think this year makes sense. All right, Shyler Cyrus says, any chance of picking up a veteran offensive lineman in free agency? There's certainly a chance. I want to see who actually hits the open market and how much they command. But if someone of a Cam Fleming level or better ends up only asking for like $3 million, at that point, yeah, it'd probably be a tackle. You're set at guard depth and center depth because you're going to have Frederick come back, and Marcus Martin might come back from injury if you re-sign him. So you're probably looking at a swing tackle. If there's someone cheap that doesn't get the deal that they want, maybe they do make sense. All right, next up here, we're going to some more questions here for again. All right, Nathaniel Bowen says, I would like Dallas to get a tight end in the second round, DT in the third, safety fourth, and fifth round. So wait, 2 safeties? I don't like that idea. Tight ends are cursed in round 2. Now, if someone good falls, I'm thinking Irv Smith, I'm thinking TJ Hawkinson, which probably aren't going to happen, then do it. I like DT, but you're also probably going to need a receiver at some point. Don't forget that if you let Cole Beasley leave, offensive line could also make some sense early on. But those are some of your key needs, which I do agree with. All right, Kenny, is David Irving in future plans? He could be a huge defensive weapon if he would get his act together. I don't think he's coming back. I think he's done in Dallas. And frankly, he should be. He wasn't around the team this year. 2 games, missed a lot of practice, a lot of meetings, a lot of rehab time. You're right, he is talented. He's no longer worth the headache. The difference between him and Randy Gregory is that you didn't have to pay Gregory. He was on his first year deal. You didn't have to extend him a new contract. You could let him sit on the sidelines and get his life in order. You can't really wait for that right now with David Irving. All right, next up, would you pay Byron Jones? I mean, I would. I'm not going to make him the #1 highest paid cornerback. I know he kind of struggled on the stretch a little bit this year, but he was banged up, and for the most part this year, he was very good. And in the end, unlike what I wanted to do with DeMarcus Lawrence, I think you make Byron Jones prove it again next year. That's my MO. Henry, what do you think the Cowboys should pay Tank? I know there's a little cult, I don't know what else to call it out there, of Cowboys fans who don't want to pay DeMarcus Lawrence. Y'all are insane. You make no sense. You pay DeMarcus Lawrence $20 million. Open it up to him. Which, by the way, is why I said you pay him $17, $18 last year. You cost yourself more money by making Tank prove it again this year. And guess what? Amid a torn labrum, he proved it again this season. I absolutely want to pay DeMarcus Lawrence. He's worth it. He will command a ridiculous amount of money on the open market. You pay the man what he's worth, because otherwise, where's your pass rush going to come from? All right, Matt S. Any chance Sanjay Law is a name to consider for OC? I don't think so. I think he's an option, but I think the Cowboys prefer someone with play calling experience. I think it's Doug Nussmeier, then Sanjay Law as the next option for OC in terms of internal candidates. And by the way, maybe he has more input in the overall scheming week to week for the Cowboys, which I think would be a good idea. JB97, come on, Dom. Come on, Dom. What are the chances of Romo being a quarterback coach for Dak? 0, none. Stop it. He's not coming to be a quarterback coach. Why would Tony Romo ever leave his job to come be a quarterback coach and then get yelled at by the Cowboys fans when things don't go well? Why would he ever do that? I'm done with these Tony questions. They just bother me. Derek Grimes, Collins to left guard, Williams to right tackle. I think there's a semblance of an argument there. I really do. But I think for both players, they need some consistency. They need the same offensive line coach, they need the same scheme, and they need to actually have the same position. Quit moving them all around. And by the way, the last time we saw Landon Collins at left guard, he actually wasn't that good. But when he lost his job to Ron Leary, I say you keep them where they're at, let them develop, and then reevaluate next year once Collins is a free agent. All right, Aaron Ray, Zeke, DeMarcus Lawrence, Dak, Jaylon, Byron. We can only pay one of these guys. Who do we sign? Well, you can pay multiple, so that's good. If you're asking me who I would pay first, it's DeMarcus Lawrence. You're not gonna like my next answer though, guys. If you're asking who the Cowboys would pay first, it's probably Dak Prescott. All right, Joshua Rodriguez. What if Tavon was that change of pace back you've been talking about? Pack on 15, 20 pounds, and there you go. The Rams kind of use Tavon as almost a halfback, but you can't just pack on 15, 20 pounds for Tavon Austin. He's going to lose his speed. So Tavon's weight is where it needs to be. It's not as simple as adding muscle mass and then, I'm only going to keep my speed at the exact same time. All right, Erwin Rodgers. The only way the Cowboys is going to get a top-ranked coach is to give the team head coach and general manager job. I actually don't think that's true. Sometimes, yes, but if you were to get Sean Payton, you'd give him plenty of influence in the front office, but I don't think it's always a good idea to have your coach and GM in the same role. If you didn't fail before, you definitely want him to help pick out the groceries, as Bill Parcells has said when shopping for players and prospects, but I don't think you would necessarily want the cook picking out the groceries as well. By himself, I should say. All right, Nathaniel Bowen. Golden Tate and Humphrey would be a good fit in Dallas. They would be. I just think they'll end up being too expensive in the end. And Manny, I agree with this point here too. Says he would rather draft a slot guy for the long term. I agree. Go draft someone like a Lil Jordan Humphrey or Annie Isabella or a number of other good players in this year's class. I think that makes quite a bit of sense there. And then you're set at receiver for the next 4 years. How great is that, right? You've got Cooper, Gallup, and a slot guy. Boom. Perfect right there. All right, Johnny Sanchez. Who are some of your sleeper picks you could see Dallas in the later stages of the draft? Still early. I'll throw out one name for you guys. Daylon Mack, the defensive tackle out of Texas A&M, which producer Dom loves. He's at the East-West Shrine game right now. Had a good week of practice. Was markedly improved this year. Met with the Cowboys, by the way. I think is a classic Cowboys Rod Riley defensive player. Little short, only about 6'1" or so. Got some size on him. A perfect fit for the Cowboys' one technique as that nose guard type role. I think he goes to probably like round 4, maybe late day 2. But watch out for Daylon Mack out of A&M. All right, John. Will the Cowboys make a move for a safety? Yes, but it might not be a big move. They'll have interest there in getting out like an Earl Thomas or a Landon Collins. They'll have interest in a high round pick, but it might not work out in terms of the cap or the overall draft capital available to spend. But at some point, I think they draft a safety in the mid-rounds because Kevon Frazier, he didn't make much of an impact this year, which I'm not overly surprised by. I think he's a special teams guy. Jeff Heath's contract up after next year, so looking ahead, you do want some more depth there. All right, Joshua Rodriguez, what about offensive line at 32? I think you mean 58. That's where the Cowboys pick is. With Travis Frederick's condition, or maybe he's talking about my trade details, which would probably makes more sense there. With Frederick's condition, there is still no time for. Well, Frederick thinks he'll be back this year. Or next year, I should say, in 2019. Let me clarify with my ears, I'm bad about that. 2019. So I don't think you ever want to invest a pick of just in case. Isn't that what Joe's for? Your backup guys, Looney, and even Connor Williams and Marcus Martin, who you signed, and is a free agent you might bring back there. So from that perspective, I don't think you spend a round 2, round 3 pick on an offensive lineman. And if you do, I'm actually looking at tackle to groom if you have to replace Landon Collins or if Tyron Smith's back, neck, arm flares up again. Anthony Castillo, who would you rather pick for a safety option, Earl Thomas or Landon Collins? I think there's no wrong answer, by the way. And I would strongly consider Landon Collins. He's not quite as rangy as Earl Thomas was, but if you really want to keep Xavier Woods at free safety and not strong safety, maybe you go with Landon. Let him be your box safety who can still make some plays in coverage. Either way, Xavier Woods and insert safety there. It's a really, really good 1-2 punch. All right, folks, today's show was brought to you by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Head over to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus. So, remember, NFC, AFC Championship game weekend. Make it more exciting since the Cowboys are out. Go bet on the game. I've bet on the Saints. I think they're going to take down the Rams. There's some free betting advice right there for you. Chatsports.com/bet and that promo code Cowboys120. Joshua Rodriguez, chances of Josh McDaniels coming over for OC, 0. Why would he leave the Patriots, where he's got a really good thing going, to be an OC for the Cowboys? He's had head coach interest. It's never going to happen. Miggity Man says, "Who do you think we should go younger on OC?" I mean, if you want to just go into we want the next young talented guy, sure, but I just want a good OC. I don't care if he's 50 years old. Give me a guy that's going to call a better game plan than Linehan. Lysander Smith, what is the Cowboys' biggest need this offseason? Well, if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit that button. Go look at our videos. We have an in-depth breakdown of all of the team needs out there right now for the Cowboys. As of right now, it's defensive end, only because DeMarcus Lawrence is a free agent. Once he's re-signed, I think you're looking at some combination of tight end, safety, defensive tackle, and also wide receiver, because I think Cole Beasley is a goner. All right, Tret Fan says, hopefully I pronounced that right. Could we trade Taco Charlton? Yes. Yes, you could. And I will not be surprised if he is dealt. Remember, Taco got benched this year. Yeah, he was hurt, but he was healthy when he came back and couldn't get on the field. He did down the stretch at the end of the season, but Taco has not made the impact he wanted, and the Cowboys weren't that pleased with his attitude. I don't know what he gets back in a trade, but I am not going to rule out a Taco Charlton trade. I think you're onto something there. There's a decent chance the Cowboys say, you know what, let's cut our losses now and trade Taco while he still has some value. Ricky Shots Gaming, should the Cowboys target a DT in the draft? Absolutely, and they had better. Round 2, round 3, worst case round 4, get me a defensive tackle in a really good class. I want another defensive tackle to play that one technique. I liked what Antoine Woods did, but there was no one else behind him that could really play that role. It has been a position the Cowboys have long ignored under Rod Marinelli, and I hope it changes soon. MJ, can Tom Downey be the slot receiver? Probably not. I'm not fast enough. I'm not shifty enough. I played receiver and quarterback growing up, but I'm not fast enough to play that role. Matt S. You think the Cowboys could draft interior O-line early to improve play to 2016 level? But they just did that, right? That was why they picked Connor Williams. That was the whole point behind that. Now, Sewell wasn't perfect in his first season. He also didn't have Travis Frederick. So you give a year of growth to Connor Williams, in theory, and the return to Travis Frederick, in theory, that's a way better offensive line. Now, that 2016, you might not ever get to that level, but I do think you can get back to top 5 fairly quickly. And at that point, your entire offense is going to be a lot better next season, hopefully. Ricky Shots Gaming, is Sean Lee worth a third rounder? He's not. Not with a $10 million cap hit. Not with his injury problems. I don't think you're going to get much in return for Sean Lee. And the Cowboys, in the end, they might say, look, Sean, you've done so much for this organization. We want to keep that olive branch open for a future coaching spot. We'll hit the open market in the end. Joel Johnson, what are the odds we sign a veteran quarterback backup instead of drafting one? I'd like to sign a veteran. I don't know if the Cowboys are going to do either, though. They might just roll into next year with Dak and Rush and White again. They're all under contract. And maybe try again next year when it's a much better quarterback class and you're not reaching for a guy that might not end up making a roster if you take him in round 5, round 6, or round 7. All right, Tret Fan, who got the better of the Switzer-Austin trade? Well, those were two different trades, remember. It was Ryan Switzer for Jihad Ward. Neither player made that team's roster. Switzer got shipped off to the Steelers. They got a pick back, so since Ward got nothing for the Cowboys, the Raiders won that trade. Tavon Austin was traded for a late-round pick. I'll go that the Cowboys got a better deal on that one versus Tavon Austin, who didn't make a huge impact, but was at least good enough on returns at times. But overall, wouldn't you kind of rather have Ryan Switzer right now with Cole Beasley set to leave? Maybe we should have pissed off Linehan, because that's why Switzer got shipped out in the end. Again, folks, I think that one ended up being better for the Rams in the end. So Beasley's going to leave. I truly think that Austin might leave too. So in the end, the Cowboys definitely lost the Ryan Switzer Jihad Ward trade. 100% lost that one because you got nothing out of Jihad Ward. You shouldn't have traded Ryan Switzer away. I'm glad that you ended up bringing in Tavon Austin, but in the end, I just don't think it was good enough there for the Cowboys. I think that they lost that trade in the end, plain and simple. All right, we're going to some more questions here live on Facebook and live on YouTube. Taylor Phoenix, any chance we get Riley Ridley? Possibly. Now, again, this is the younger brother of Calvin Ridley. Went to Georgia, didn't actually produce that much. He really didn't in the end. Now, maybe he's there in round 2 or round 3. I don't know if I want to spend a round 2 pick on Riley Ridley. I'd rather have Andy Isabella. But if you miss on him and you wait till round 3 and he's on the board, I think that could make some sense. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.